Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. The Cleveland Cavaliers have appeared in 4 consecutive NBA Finals. The Cleveland Indians have won the last 3 Central Division titles. And the Browns, well, they've only finished above 500 twice in 20 years. What we hear from you about that is that after just 1 year, there seems to be unanimous support of John Dorsey. Why don't the Indians get that support? Come on. Despite possibly the worst outfield in recent franchise history, who's going to beat them? They have maybe the best starting pitching staff in all of baseball. Minnesota is loading up on 1-year veteran deals. The White Sox, if they don't sign Manny Machado, aren't ready yet. And Detroit and Kansas City are not even close. Somehow, some way, the Indians front office will come up with something, either just before opening day, at the trade deadline, or even at the waiver wire. By the end of May, a third of the way into the season, we're going to know just what they're thinking. More sports and Les Levine starts right now. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine on a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year and seen exclusively right here on cleveland.com. The D-man, Dennis Manoloff, standing by. He'll jump in. Mike Masetta from Nature Stone will jump in also. Lots to talk about. Things seem to be calming down as far as the Kareem Hunt situation. I'm not sure what's different about it, but maybe the Browns were smart getting that word out as early as they could in February, thinking the 6 months from now, maybe people won't be thinking of it top of mind. We'll see about that. Also, Jordan Clarkson hits for 42 points off the bench last night, and I'm just wondering if you're thinking about or changing how you're thinking about the Cavaliers, knowing they don't have Tristan Thompson right now, knowing that Kevin Love is just getting his feet wet, and if you might start thinking a little different as the Cavaliers head toward the All-Star break. Dennis Manoloff will chip in on that, and also we find out a gem from Terry Francona, which will come when we go first things first.
Have no ill feelings towards anybody in the organization, nor the representatives that were in the room in the arbitration hearing. It was a non-emotional event for me. I thought that both sides presented a really strong case. I appreciate all the time spent on my behalf by the Players Association and my agency. I respect all the time spent on the Indians, by the Indians representatives and the Labor Relations Department. I thought it was a really well-argued case. I thought the decision, in a completely unemotional way, I thought the decision to end the rebuttal period with what I would characterize, the intent behind it that I would characterize was to demean my character and present things that I've said in a way that was disingenuous, was a bad play, bad decision. And to be clear, I thought I was abundantly clear earlier, that was not the Indians or their representatives that presented that information. It was on behalf, it was presented by the Labor Relations Department. I think for people who don't understand what, like the arbitration process, the way it works is, my representatives present an hour-long brief on why we think I'm worth what we're asking for. Then club representatives present an hour-long brief on what they think that I'm worth and why they think so. We break, we come back. My representatives and the Players Association gets a half-an-hour rebuttal period. Then the Labor Relations Department gets a half-an-hour rebuttal period for our where we rebut each other's cases, and then we finish up with a two-minute sir rebuttal on the player's behalf. So I just want to make it clear that it was not the Indians, the representatives that presented what I would characterize as character assassination.
All right, that's Trevor Bauer today, and talking about his win in arbitration. You can see why the Indians don't like to go after players in arbitration. There's nothing good that comes of it, and even though Bauer tried to explain it away, there has to be some hard feelings, not only in this case but in other cases. We'll talk about that more with Dennis Manoloff when we get back. We'll take a break, and we will come on back. More sports and Les Levine exclusively right here on cleveland.com. You can follow us on Facebook. Facebook.com is the place to go with new content posted each and every day. We got some doozies for you a little bit later. More sports and Les Levine continues in a moment.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The heart-pounding, fast-breaking action of college basketball is back when the 2019 Mid-American Conference Basketball Tournament returns to the Q March 13th through the 16th, presented by Visit Myrtle Beach. Pulses will rise and hearts will race as the men and women of the MAC put it all on the line. Tickets for the MAC tournament are on sale now at the Q box office, online at theqarena.com, and at all Northern Ohio discount drug marts. MAC Tournament Basketball. Be there.
All right, here you see the birthdays for today. Woody Hayes was born on this date. How about that? Woody Hayes on Valentine's Day. Rick O'Shea, 1947. Jim Kelly, Drew Bledsoe, Steve McNair. It's a quarterback day today. And Richard Hamilton, all born on the 14th of February. 216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. We are joined by the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. We'll have Mike Massetta just coming up fairly soon. In the meantime, D-Man, you heard what Trevor Bauer had to say. The whole system is set up to make people not be friends, right?
Exactly. Listen, I was telling Dave Bacon in the green room, when I was a kid, I had a neighbor, Bertha Lang. She watched over us. She was a great lady. She had a saying, it's always something, okay? With Bauer, it's always something with this guy. He can't just leave things alone. Other players have won in arbitration.
They don't gloat.
And you don't hear all the bells and whistles surrounding it. Players understand, and management understands, that it is a greasy, grimy process that can get personal. That's why so many teams don't want to go to arbitration, including the Indians. All right?
Indians very rarely do.
But what bothers me, again, all right, I got to say this. It would be hypocritical of me as a journalist to want an athlete to shut up. Okay, I hate when we in the media tell athletes just be quiet, because that's great for business. All right, I'm not telling Trevor Bauer to be quiet, not that he cares what I say, but how about you think before you speak the first time? All right, because the article that Bob Nightingale wrote of USA Today, very reputable reporter, obviously, Bauer's quoted in there as character assassination. Okay, the labor relations guy character assassinates him at the end of the arbitration hearing. Fine. If you want to say that, that's fine. All right, even though he kind of backtracked on that in his apology. But in the Nightingale article, he's taunting Antonetti and Chernoff for not showing up, despite the fact that he offered him a +1 invite. You know, he had a nice flowery quote about that.
Yeah.
But he knew full well they weren't going to show up. That's not what organizations do, because they don't want the general managers and the presidents to get in a room and have it be personal, knowing they need to have a working relationship with the player.
And that's win or lose, because it could go either way.
Exactly. So he knew full well that Chernoff and Antonetti were not going to be there, but he taunts them with an invitation. He publicizes the invitation in the Nightingale article, and then he backtracks. Oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I certainly didn't mean anything. Chris and I are fine.
That's his agent talking.
I mean, that's my point about Bauer. It's always something, and then there's a backtrack. He has to clarify his comments. You know, why? Why do you even do that in the first place?
If you're the Indians, what do you do now? Just let it all simmer down and then get together and hash things out, or forget it ever happened?
You're never going to hash things out with Bauer. He's already said he's not signing a long-term deal. If he did, he's certainly not going to sign it here, you would think. So the Indians' days with Bauer are numbered. However long however much they have of his control. What is it, 2 more years?
2 more years.
This year and next year. And he's going to break the bank on arbitration. Good for him. And I'm sure Chernoff and Antonetti won't show up to that one either. And they'll get mocked for it.
Wouldn't you think, for a guy who had the drone incident and then gets injured last year in the midst of a great year, he'd be the last guy, one of the last guys you would think would want to test the system, tempt the system, and go year by year by year?
Sure. And, you know, I get that he's very young and he's extremely talented. All right. Do not mistake that. We get that he's incredibly talented, and he's very young, so he has a lot of career left. He hasn't had a chance, years-wise, to put up monster numbers. But the fact is, so far, he hasn't pitched more than 190 innings in a season.
No, and how about playoff record?
1-4, you know, for what the playoff record is worth, middling ERA, but hasn't done anything in the postseason. Didn't show up last year out of the bullpen against the Astros. So, you know, for a guy who hasn't really accomplished that much in the game,
right,
he certainly makes a bazillion headlines.
A guy who's 1-4 in the postseason is asking for trouble if the front office comes in, because they have to bring that up, don't they?
Well, but, you know, Bauer's point is, I've won these last 2 arbitration cases. I'm going to win again. In his mind, he's going to have a monster year. He's going to win again. Okay, fine. And I think, his days with the Indians are numbered. So I don't think there's ever even going to be a discussion about a long-term contract with Bauer, because I believe him when he says he's not going to sign one.
At a time. Terry Francona talked to the media out in Goodyear, Arizona today. I thought he came up, it's not a bombshell, but he came up with something. He talked near the end of this clip about the potential trade of Kluber and Bauer. Let's listen in on manager Terry Francona, now in his 7th year with the Indians.
He's supposed to land in about 45 minutes. He's been rehabbing in Orlando. Now he'll transition to here. I think anybody that knows Frankie, I know they put a timetable, and it's probably not fair. I'm betting on the under, just knowing Frankie. You know, the way his body, he's such in good shape. He's young. He works. He'll be fine.
So they were saying, what, 7 to 9 weeks?
And again, they always do that to, and in fairness to the player, you let the injury dictate when guys play. I just wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, I'm betting on the under. If I were a betting man.
Well, he is.
I tried to sneak some water in there.
That's all right. Talking about Lindor.
He's talking Lindor.
Yeah.
Please don't rush Lindor back, though.
No, and I heard Sean Casey say this the other day. get ready, get where you're at the point where you're ready to play, then take 2 or 3 more weeks off. And
sure.
I would agree with that.
Exactly. You don't want to rush these things and set him back at all when you don't need to. But we were talking about what Francona's reaction or what he said about Bauer and Kluber.
Yeah, he basically said that, and we'll have it for you, but he basically said that the other teams have to at least see what the Indians are interested in, but he didn't expect any team to make an offer good enough to make the Indians jump, which I think is a good sign, because sometimes if you want to get rid of somebody, you get rid of them at the first opportunity. They at least held their ground, at least for now.
Sure, Les, but isn't it interesting that for all of the talk and reputable writing that was done about Kluber and Bauer being on the market potentially for the right offer, all of the potential trade discussion or trade scenarios were Kluber-based.
Right, you didn't hear it about Bauer. What is that? As
Not that I know of.
As a journalist, what does that mean to you?
Well, I wonder if other teams didn't look at the two guys and say, you know what? The upside is certainly more favorable on the Bauer front, but we don't want to deal with the headache.
Well, and we don't want to deal with a one-year deal next year.
Sure, but I think teams were reticent on Bauer. Now, I can't prove it.
Right.
That's just my opinion. But if you're offered these two guys on talent, or at least on growth and and age, you would want Bauer. But why was there not one rumored trade scenario involving Trevor Bauer, with actual pieces being discussed?
Do you think the Indians will be in activity here in the next, I don't know, week, 10 days?
Yes, I do. Now, I was wrong about Kluber. I thought that there was too much smoke. Kluber had to move. He doesn't have to move. He's not going anywhere. He's your ace. He starts the season with the Indians and probably finishes it with the Indians. They're going to have a dynamite rotation, Bauer included. Don't get me wrong. Again, he's an integral piece, a very good pitcher. So they'll have an excellent rotation. I still wonder about the bats, the offense. Therefore, I do think they're going to do some more bargain basement shopping because, once again, Les, we're on the set, and Machado and Harper have not signed yet. So we're still waiting for a lot of player movement. I think the Indians do shop low budget on a couple
and right
guys.
now you have 7 or 8 potential outfielders out there if a trade is not made. These guys, they're going to rotate so fast, they better, at first opportunity, they better impress or else they'll be gone also.
Yeah.
I would think.
Right. And look, I know this is one of those low-budget signings or nondescript right now, but Matt Joyce is a guy that, a few years ago, he was pretty decent.
Yeah, not the last 2 years.
Maybe it was injuries. I don't know, but he's a name at least. He has every bit of shot as any of these other guys so far to make an outfield position.
When we get back, we'll send it out to Nature Stone, find out what Mike Macetta is thinking. We want to know what you're thinking also, 216-575-0403. You can email us at reallesLevine@gmail.com. Dennis Manoloff with us. You see more sports and Les Levine exclusively right here on cleveland.com. Live harness racing, and that comes your way every Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday evenings with the 6 p.m. post time at Northfield Park, open early every day at noon for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. Free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. Back in a moment, more sports and Les Levine continues on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, it has a higher insulation rating than carpet and is warmer than linoleum, vinyl, wood, or tile.
Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home. Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
D-Man, it's time for a How Come Quickie. How come when I read a book about anti-gravity, I can't put it down? Any idea? You a scientist? Any idea? No? 216-575-0403. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, is with us. And so is the M-Man. That's Mike Macetta out of Nature Stone. Let's say hi to Mike. Hello, M-Man. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, L-Man? I'm doing well, thank you.
You got the same two initials. I got two initials, the same. So let's initially let's begin with your thoughts of well, Kareem Hunt first of all.
Well, you know, I mean, it's such a tough situation because of the off the field stuff. I mean, he's a tremendous running back. So if you take the off the field stuff out of the equation, and I know that you really can't do that, but trying to do that. My goodness, what a backfield they have. You know, Chubb, Hunt now, and he's on a one-year contract. You know he's going to play at his best. Plus, you got Duke Johnson still in there that could, I think, with those two backs and Duke, that actually frees Duke up to do some more things in the passing game.
D-Man, so, right now, is this maybe the best backfield in the game?
I mean, it would be right up there if you had Hunt from the jump, but I don't think you're getting Hunt from the jump. So you're going to have to wait to see what the NFL punishment is. I think it's going to be significant.
Yeah, I
don't even want to think about that backfield until Hunt is cleared to play for the Cleveland Browns. But if they're all healthy and all available, yeah, it's a stacked backfield.
Yeah, but from the off the field stuff. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the move. I got to be honest with you. I just, you know, I'm all for second chances, and I believe that everybody deserves one. But there's still a lot to be done with this. Like what D-Man just said. You know, what's the NFL going to do in terms of a suspension, and you know, where does this go in terms of the courts and anything like that? So we don't know the exact end result of the whole off the field stuff yet. I wish we would have waited on that.
Yeah, I don't like it one bit. I think by getting it out early though, it helps them a little bit because by the time the season starts, it's further away from the initial shock of it. And I'll say that I was shocked by it. D-Man, how about you?
I wasn't shocked. I was surprised. But then the more you thought about it, the more you recognized that John Dorsey drafted Hunt in Kansas City. If any GM knows Hunt the person, it's John Dorsey. Right. And I believe, even before I listened to what Dorsey said or I read the statement that was released immediately after the signing, I thought that what Dorsey was saying was, hey, this guy's young enough and talented enough that he's going to play in the league again. This is not like Ray Rice, where Rice was up there in running back years. He said, if he's going to play again, which he is, why not have it be with me?
Yeah.
That to me was the simple logic of it.
Doug Maurice was here the other day. He says, we all agree he was going to play someday, so what we're talking about is when the clock stops or starts, and that's basically correct. What are you seeing with the Cavaliers? They got some more young players. Clarkson is starting to play well, and they almost won a game that they really didn't need to win last night.
Oh, yeah, that was an exciting game. I was up the whole night watching that. They played a great game against the Nets. The Nets are a playoff team, or at least on the verge of being a playoff team. So, you know, that was a heck of a job. They have a very young team. They were also limited in terms of their personnel last night because they sat a bunch of guys heading into the All-Star break. So they played that well, and they only had, I think, 9 guys playing through 3 overtimes. So that was pretty crazy to think about. But I really like what they're doing in terms of gaining assets and getting rid of these players. They've got a couple of expiring contracts now. They've got 2 first-round picks. One of them is going to be in the top 5 for sure. They've got a bunch of second-round picks they could package together and pick up somebody else. And in the NBA, one player can make the difference between you being a championship contender or you being the worst team in the league. I mean, literally, that's when you have that one player to complement your starting lineup who's the best player in the game. You know, if you could find that player, and I think there's a couple of them in this draft that are really, really good.
Well, there's certainly one of them.
What's that?
There's certainly one of them.
Oh, yeah, Zion Williamson. Yeah, you can go from worst to first, or at least worst to being a mid-level type playoff team in a year, especially with this young group that they have, and the fact that they're going to have a ton of cap space, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they have so many contracts coming off the books. Somebody's going to sign here for a lot of money.
All right, Mike, when we get back, we're going to talk football here. We got some great clips to look at. D-Man and I will break it down. After all, there's only 7 months till it starts again, or something like that.
Right.
All right, Mike.
They're playing now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. All right, thanks, Mike, for checking in.
Thanks,
we'll
Mike.
talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.
Okay, Mike Macetta out of Nature Zone. Great company, great people out there, that is for sure. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. When we get back, we're going to take a look at the AFC Central. The Browns are still in on that. They haven't retired the trophy yet to the Cleveland Browns.
The AFC North. Yeah.
AFC North. Sorry, what did I say?
Central. You were thinking Indians. It's all right.
I should stop thinking like that. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff with us, cleveland.com, and, of course, the Plain Dealer. And you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We'll take a look at the results of our question of the day when we get back on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's check out this date in sports history. February 14th, 1961. Rick Mount of Lebanon, Indiana, becomes the first high school male athlete to be on the cover of a Sports Illustrated. He had a good career at Purdue, averaging over 30 points, but he was nothing special in the ABA. What a great shooter, just a pure shooter. If he came along in the days of the three-point shot, you might have seen something different. 216-575-0403. Dennis Manoloff, the D-Man from the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. Let's take a look at the AFC North and see what the Browns have to face. Everybody assuming the Browns will be one of the favorites. So here's what's happened since 2002, D-Man. Pittsburgh has won 8 titles, Baltimore 5, and Cincinnati 4, and that 0 still sitting there for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable, Les, about crowning the Browns already. And this is what Kitchens mentioned with his, all right, here we go. Here's the Steelers update. I mean, Kitchens had said, hey, 7-8-1's nothing to celebrate. Too many people have already said the Browns are going to win the division next year. I think the Steelers should be the favorite.
Well, the Steelers are 9-6-1 last year, including that tie on opening day. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown likely are gone. Roethlisberger turns 37 in March. And the backup quarterback's nothing much to look for. Mason Rudolph probably would be the guy to step in if there is an injury. That is the AFC North. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we take a look at the Baltimore Ravens. 10-6 last year, lost to the Chargers in the AFC wildcard game, and they traded Joe Flacco just the other day to Denver. That'll become official soon. Lamar Jackson takes over the role. D-Man, can he adapt to the NFL, and will the NFL adapt to him?
I think that there's an accuracy concern with Jackson, and I've come to believe that in the NFL, you either have accuracy or you don't.
Right, and you can't learn it.
It's almost impossible to coach it into a player, so it's going to be a difficult hurdle for Jackson to overcome, but he certainly has tremendous tools to cause problems for defenses.
Here comes the Cincinnati. Here come the Cincinnati Bengals, 6-10 last year. They have not had a winning record since 2015 when they went 12-4. They parted ways with Marvin Lewis after 16 seasons. That's pretty good longevity, but couldn't win playoff games either.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't buy that the Bengals are necessarily starting over because Marvin Lewis isn't there.
Right.
By their thought, if Andy Dalton and A.J. Green are healthy, they're not 6-10 last year. All right?
Correct.
So I'm not automatically writing off the Bengals as some terrible team. And I'm not trying to pour water on the Browns parade. I love what the Browns are doing, Dorsey and Kitchens and Mayfield and all this. But it's not going to be easy to supplant those three teams in the division, certainly not all at once, coming off a 7-8-1, which was only 1 year removed from an 0-16.
Do you think that Dorsey made a move here on Hunt that he didn't need to make at this point? Because it's putting more pressure on him, or it will?
Well, if he were not comfortable in his own skin, he wouldn't have made the move, okay? Because the safe play is, I'll pass, all right? Like a lot of teams probably would have said, we'll pass.
Including some members of the front office, probably, of the Browns.
Yeah, there probably was disagreement within the building, sure. But again, I go back to this. Dorsey's saying he's looking at the age, low to mid-20s, and he's looking at the skill, and he's saying, okay, in his mind, again, some people disagree, but in Dorsey's mind, this kid deserves a second chance. Right. I know him better than anyone in the NFL, all right, in terms of hierarchy. If he's going to get a second chance, why not have it be with me instead of somebody else? Okay, that's what Dorsey's thinking.
The other side, a lot of people, when it first came down, said, well, that'll be good. He's a Cleveland kid. That'll be good. That may not be the case in this case.
Sure, because he got into trouble at the 9 in Cleveland. There might have been, the put in base thing. And the reason I'm not worried about that, because first of all, I agree with you that just because he's coming home doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
But the reason I'm not worried about it is because I don't think John Dorsey really cared. I don't think it ran through his mind, because he's a local kid, if we bring him back to a local pro team, we're gonna have an advantage. Right. I don't think that's how he viewed Hunt. I think the reason he wanted Hunt in here, number one, was the talent, and number two, he believes in the young man. He believes in the character of the young man who did a horrific thing and should be punished and will be punished significantly. And that, I want to ask you, Les, what do you think the punishment is going to be?
Well, I think Goodell has to make some kind of statement with his decision on how long it's going to be.
It can't be 4 because that's a steroid suspension.
I'm thinking of 6 at least.
Minimum, to me, it was a minimum of 8. And I think at least half a season. And this goes to what you were saying to Mike. It's probably better, in fact, I know it's better, that the signing occurs, the controversy happens, everybody talks about it, and then Hunt disappears from the headlines.
Right.
He goes and gets better and does his rehab, whatever he has to do to get better, the anger management, what have you, gets suspended, not seen or heard from for months. Browns can start their training camp without the Hunt thing hanging over them. It's probably better for all parties that he's not eligible right away.
Right, and I think there's pressure on Goodell, who's come under criticism for a whole bunch of things. I think he can't go light on this one. I think he has to bend heavier to a heavier justice, and maybe then somebody could challenge it, and maybe he'll remove add a game or two, or remove a game or two. I don't think there's going to be that much leniency in this because Goodell is under fire.
Sure, and I don't know what the parameters are. How far can he go? But when I first thought of, okay, what would an NFL suspension look like for Kareem Hunt, I was thinking 8 to 16 games. And 8 to 10 is probably more realistic. But it cannot be 4 because that's a steroid suspension. Yeah. You cannot equate hitting a woman and kicking a woman with a steroid suspension.
No, but if you're talking about the whole season, I would think that Goodell would have gotten the word to Jimmy Haslam that, hey, don't bother because we're going to come down heavy on this guy.
Well, okay, but it's possible that they do know that. I mean, maybe they already know what the
Browns?
Yeah, maybe the Browns or any other team already knew what the suspension was, or had an idea of what the suspension was going to be. And, but I think that as far as the timing goes, I'd like to think that Dorsey did it this past, 7 days as opposed to 3 weeks from now, because he had a feeling that somebody else was locking
going after
in.
it. And if, yeah, that's a good point. A lot of ways to look at it, that's for sure. You expect the Browns to be active somewhat in free agency?
Somewhat. A lot, sure. I mean, there's upgrades that need to be made, specifically on the defensive side.
Yeah, I heard somebody say the other day, he was asked, what do they need? And he said, nothing. First of all, you always need something.
They need plenty.
Even the Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
You're settled on very few positions other than a quarterback, of course, with Mayfield. And then there's the Odell Beckham possibility. That's been. Why not? I mean, why wouldn't you want a talent of Beckham's caliber?
Well, because the question would be, are you going to be a running? If you get Kareem Hunt, are you going to be a running team or are you going to be a passing team?
Right, and I'm not saying that Beckham is an easy guy to deal with in the locker room.
Right.
And presumably he wants his touches, and he's on the same team in this scenario as Jarvis Landry, who would want his touches.
Yep.
Although I will say this, I thought Landry, and granted he got paid. Okay, it's easy to be nice when you got paid.
Sure.
But Landry, I thought, did an excellent job the latter half of the year of keeping his mouth shut when he wasn't getting all the touches in the Freddie Kitchens offense for that stretch there. And he didn't say anything. He didn't rock the boat. He didn't complain. And that was a classy move by Landry. But again, with the caveat that he had gotten his money, so he didn't have to lobby for cash. But I appreciated the way Landry went about it.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. When we get back, we'll present our question of the day from Facebook. I'll be on 92.3 The Fan this coming Monday and Friday. That's on 92.3 The Fan by myself on Monday, in with Jeff Phelps on Friday afternoon. 216-575-0403. Let's see, that looks familiar. I think I went to lunch there today. Oh yes, I did. Sokolowski's University Inn. No place better. 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. Great conversation, great people, great stalking possibilities, and just a terrific place. They've been with me almost every day for 25 years now, and they were the winners of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 in the country get it each and every year. Dennis Manoloff and I return in a moment. More sports and Les Levine continues on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Reduce tracked-in dirt, eliminate puddling and salt damage. Plus, Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping.
Call or go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get up to 50% off.
Nature Stone is the affordable garage floor solution that beautifies your home. Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery, partners in education, where stars shine.
Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history, February 14th, 1988. Clark Kellogg gets his first television color analyst job. He's paired with Les on Cleveland State basketball games. One of them went on to a long, lucrative sports broadcasting career. The other is still here tonight talking to you. Now we do the week in review as we do on Thursday nights. This is 1959. As captain of the safety patrol at Roland School, Les does not punish a 6th grade student who stole dozens of Hershey candy bars from the candy sale, citing everybody deserves a second chance, D-Man. The kid thanked Les, and then he stole a bunch of M&Ms, citing the fact that he liked that better anyway.
Les, you should write a book about
Hang on,
your
I wish I had kept this stuff. Then we moved to the 12th. In 1979, instead of going out to lunch, Les gets a haircut. The owner of the radio station looks him over and says, "Well, it grew on company time." That's a true story. 1951, Les went to kindergarten. He packed lunch and included either chocolate chips or Oreos, hence the beginning of How Come Cookies.
Yes.
I apologize for that.
You got so many adventures, Les.
Some of them based on truth, some not. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. And we're going to take a look at the NBA All-Star Weekend. Are we ready to do that? Almost ready?
Well,
not ready.
Speaking of the NBA,
yeah.
I guess I'm going to be a curmudgeon here. Has any team gotten more of a pass for being 12-46 than the Cleveland Cavaliers?
More of a pass by who?
Nobody
What did you want him to be without LeBron James?
I know that's the common retort, and I understand it, but here we have, and I'm not trying to pit one against the other, because I love all of my Cleveland sports teams.
Right.
But one team is coming off back-to-back-to-back Central titles.
Right.
Hasn't played a game yet, and is being ripped for potentially falling behind and not being playoff worthy, might miss the playoffs. Hasn't even played a game yet, okay? The Cavs, yes, post LeBron. Yeah, I didn't expect much. And yes, it pays, unfortunately. A league is set up where tanking pays. But 12-46.
It's hard to believe you could walk out there. And you know, look at the lineup. I don't know how many different lineups they've had, but it almost seems like they have a different one every night.
There's like no criticism of the Cavs. Yeah. None.
Well, the Cavs front office or the Cavs players?
No, but I mean, if I played on a team that was 12-46, even if I had just lost LeBron James and Kevin Love was out and Irving had worked his way out of town, I'm still semi-embarrassed by it. But you don't get the impression.
No, you don't.
When the Cavs lose a close game, oh, yeah.
Nice try.
Oh, they gave it everything they had. Those gritty Cavs, yeah. 12-46.
I get it. And by the way, why is the All-Star game so far into the season? I don't get that either. We asked on Facebook, what is your favorite part of the All-Star NBA weekend? All right, here we go. First, you've got Glenn Berger. He says, the three-point shooting contest is still fun to watch. Other than that, I don't watch any of the All-Star festivities. The older I get, the less I enjoy all the players high-fiving themselves, little kids on the sideline, video recording the events, etc. Mike Carter says, I love the defense. The defense played in the NBA All-Star game. Andy Mees, the slam dunk contest gets more and more creative every year. I find it entertaining watching these athletes jump over cars, cheerleaders, and whatnot, and miraculously nobody's ever been hurt from it. They save the best for last on that Saturday night, in my view. Peter J. Butler, I enjoy every event. It's a great spectacle highlighted by the game on Sunday. It's high scoring and high flying. And we continue on. Larry Pantages says one of my favorite parts of the All-Star game in 1981 in Cleveland was seeing Moses Malone wearing a full-length fur coat, and he walked through the lobby of the events at the headquarters hotel. It might have been Stouffer's on the square. Dan Gillespie, favorite part when the buzzer rings to end the game. Who could argue with that? 216-575-0403 is the number to call. The D-man, Dennis Manoloff, is with us. All right, so the Cavs don't have Tristan Thompson. You'd admit he would make a difference, right? A little bit?
I suppose.
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, you have to say that, but I don't know. I'm not a big Thompson fan.
All right, so Kevin Love will be here next year, we assume. So tell me which 5 guys that are out there on the roster right now that are playing or not playing, which 5 guys would you like to see back here, if any?
I mean, I certainly – I'm not a big Love fan, but he needs to be back. You've signed him to a monster deal. He's not going to get traded. Yeah, he's a veteran piece if he can stay healthy. So, and he's got credentials. So Love, I don't know what is Thompson's contract status. I don't know.
I think he's got 2 more years.
I suppose I want him back as a veteran, gritty guy who had an Iron Man streak before this. Sexton, of course, is showing some glimpses here and some signs that, maybe he's better than what I thought he was going to be. Osman, I want to see more of him without any guarantees that he's going to be a star. Beyond them, I don't have anybody that absolutely screams that they have to come back.
Will Larry Drew be the coach next year?
Oh, excuse me, Nance Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 5.
All right, so will Larry Drew be here?
I doubt it, but, I mean, I guess I would imagine they'd want to go younger and, that direction. But to me, what did you expect Larry Drew to do with this?
No, nothing.
And that kind of, you could say, well, you just got done saying that 12-46 is embarrassing. It is, but that doesn't mean I didn't think that Larry Drew could miraculously make this team a playoff team.
Right. Well, you got to do something
It was
else.
unfair to him at the start with those expectations.
It is unfair to him, and it's also unfair to him that he has no real NBA caliber assistant coaches. He's got one, but in past years you had 3 or 4 guys that either could help out more in practice or be more effective, and maybe the players could respect them more because they had some kind of history as a coach. This coaching staff is way too thin.
Yeah, and let me just say this. There's a reason why Adam Silver is lauded as such a great commissioner. And there's a reason why David Stern was lauded as such a great commissioner, because they preside over an association that somehow is able to gloss over the dramatic competitive imbalance within their ranks. I mean, year after year, after decade, there's such competitive balance in the NBA, and yet the revenues are pouring in. People keep talking about them because among the things that Stern and now Silver have done, they've mastered the art of the individual commercialization. The commercialization of the individual, even over the team, which, in other words, they're propping up the individuals. Don't look at the disparity.
Right.
Don't look at the fact that 20 teams have 0 chance of even getting to the playoffs year over year, or 15. I don't know how many are in the playoffs. 16. So anything less than 16. But they're so good at marketing individuals that you don't pay attention to the lack of parity, and you accept 12-46 as part of the deal.
Right.
Nobody complains about it because you understand, well, that's what you have to do to get better again.
And they make you think you have a chance of getting better with that top draft choice. Do you think there's any karma to this of LeBron James maybe not making the playoffs?
I was just going to ask you, Les, what do you think of the sub-500 Lakers heading into the break? All is not well in Tinseltown, or so you would believe, and yet LeBron, time and again, has pulled teams from that
by himself.
mediocre muck, and he's pulled him into the playoffs.
There's a difference.
So is he going to be able to do it here?
The difference is he's got the injury to deal with, and it's a long time to get from start to finish if you're coming from the 8th seed. Well, it won't be a long time.
And
if
there's
you're the 8th seed, you're not.
What's a 2.5 game gap? You've got another team there to deal with because there's, I think, 2 right around tied for 8th. So it's going to be a tall order, but I wouldn't count LeBron out until he doesn't get in.
Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. You can enjoy the excitement of harness racing Monday through Wednesday as well as Saturday evenings with a post time of 6 p.m. Open at noon every day for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. Enjoy the free handicapping contest all weekend long, including the popular Road to the Derby contest on Saturdays. Free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. Each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head out to Hudson High School and we meet Maddie Hannon. Maddie excels in the pool and in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Maddie Hannon, this week's Shining Star.
Hudson's Maddie Hannon was always a pretty good swimmer growing up. Once in high school, though, something clicked. Hannon started working very hard, and her times started dropping.
Middle school, I wasn't too serious about swimming, but then freshman year came around, I started to get really serious with swimming. Obviously, the winter break training helped a lot, and I've just been really working hard, pushing myself to the limits every day, and it's really paid off, and it's great for me to see that, and I just use that as motivation to keep working harder, too.
I could tell that she had some potential, but even in middle school, like you said, she was a decent swimmer, but not one of our studs. But once she came in her freshman year, she really grasped the sport. She really was eager and really hungry, and by the time she got to the sophomore season, she kind of exploded onto the scene.
Hannon is now among the best swimmers in the state. She was part of Hudson's second-place state medley relay team and finished 5th in the state in the 200 freestyle during her junior season.
It really showed us that, we only lost one swimmer, so this year we're going to come back, bigger and better than ever because we have a huge, very talented freshman class, so we're really excited about that.
Hannon made herself into one of the state's best swimmers with her relentless work ethic in the pool. It's something that Maddie also carries with her into the classroom, where she has above a 4.4 grade point average. Next year, she'll attend the University of Cincinnati on a swimming scholarship.
It was the best fit between athletics and academics. They really have a great balance there, great tutoring, great help, great facilities for all the athletes. And I really just love the coaching staff, and the team was so welcoming and supportive. It was just the perfect fit for me, so I'm super excited for this fall.
I couldn't be more proud to see her go to college, get a scholarship, and swim in a Division I program. That's a really awesome accomplishment for her.
Fair to say all work?
Oh yeah, she works extremely hard. She's a great kid. She puts a lot into her craft. She's a good leader, but she's always red in the face after all of her swims. You could tell that she's putting it all in the pool, and that's what we asked her to do.
But before Maddie heads to UC, there are a few things she's focusing on as she gets ready for the state meet in her senior season.
One of the big things I'm working on is to get a nice strong catch in my freestyle and to get my wrist down, and then I'm really working on pushing my chest down in my butterfly and just some fine tuning with my strokes overall to really help push me get those extra second or two off.
If you know a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com. Go to the About section and find the tab that is marked Supporting Education to nominate him or her as an academic all-star, and he or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. You can follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. You can have your comments and whatever you want to say, and your picture will show up right here on More Sports and Less Levine, such as Marty, who writes in today. Marty writes in and says, Les, during your Clark Kellogg period, you looked just like Bill Nelson. I moved about as fast as he did. Bill Nelson had the worst knees, and maybe other than Joe Namath and Mr. I don't know how he was able to move at all. Less and D-man, I'm getting ahead of myself, ahead of the game, but when Hunt does return, what do you think of the Browns running a two-back offense a la the Pruitts and Mack and Biner? It seems like the kind of creative thing that Kitchen might like to get into. What do you think?
If anybody can figure it out, it's Kitchens and Monken, that dynamic duo of
Right.
offensive minds. And you also have to remember, the NFL, where attrition is king, you never know.
You need three.
You're going to have guys dinged up at various times, so it's never a bad thing to have depth at any position, except you don't want to bring in two stud quarterbacks.
No, that's correct.
That's the only place where
if you have two, you don't have one.
Right.
As far as Duke Johnson is concerned, the good thing about it is he's got his money already.
Yes.
So that won't be a factor.
Yes, and that's another guy that you didn't hear complaining too much.
Correct.
Probably because he had his cash. But I still think Duke Johnson is a versatile guy you can use in any offense, and I love his competitive fire. The guy hates to lose.
Lee Sutley writes in order for this team, the Indians, to win, the starters need to pitch 7 shutout innings, and with this lineup, that might not be enough. Well, give me 7 shutout innings every night. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, you mentioned Doug LeMaurice, the esteemed sports writer, columnist for .com, and his work, of course, appears in the Plain Dealer. Yeah, he did a long third and short about the Indian situation, and he went over the numbers. And the records aren't great for even these great starting pitchers when they don't get run support.
Right.
There are magic numbers for almost any starter that they'd like to have. At least 3 and 4 would be nice to work with. And right now, it doesn't look promising for this lineup. But as I said, a lot can change. If this market had already been settled, Les, if all these people had already signed and this is what the Indians had, I'd be cringing.
Well, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking there's still at least one guy coming from the outside that we didn't anticipate, but he fell through the cracks because of this market, because of the bottleneck created by Machado and Harper.
It's not like a whole bunch of teams can go out and try to get 5 or 6 different guys. It just seems to me that these teams, when the thing falls apart or breaks open, it seems to me teams will concentrate on 2 or 3 guys, which means you can't cover the entire 150-man free agent roster that's out there.
And you're going to see, minor league signings, and you've already seen them. I mean, Joyce was one of them.
Right.
That you're going to be like, really? I mean, again, Joyce has been dinged, hasn't done much in the last couple of years, but other guys, name guys who signed minor league deals, you're going to be like, wow.
I thought when Melky signed with Pittsburgh, I thought more people would do that, more people at that level, but that hasn't happened.
Yeah, and you asked me who would I prefer, Melky or Joyce? Honestly, I'd prefer Melky.
I would too.
Even with his bad defense. But I don't know what Joyce's defensive metrics are. I just know that Melky's, other than the arm, he doesn't have great range at all. But I trust what Antonetti and Chernoff are doing. I don't have a problem with them not showing up to Bauer's arbitration hearing. They know what they're doing, and I think they realize that this offense is still lacking. I'm not saying that whoever they bring in is automatically going to be an elixir, but I think they're going to upgrade at least once before spring training ends.
All right, that'll do it for us. I'll be on 92.3 The Fan on Monday from 10 until 2. I'll be by myself. Then on Friday, I'll be in with Jeff Phelps in for Andy Baskin. That's on Baskin and Phelps on 92.3 The Fan. We had a great week, as always. Thanks to the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, to the M-Man, Mike Macetta. We'll see you on Monday night. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.